Hello bookworms! Today I'm going to be doing my December book haul for you. I normally start my book hauls showing off all of the new releases that I got throughout the month, but since December is such a slow month for releases, I think that instead of doing that, I'm going to show you guys all of the books that I received as Christmas gifts and then go into the books that I bought for myself this month. You also might notice that my shelves look different because I just can't decide on what I like, and I have been redoing my shelves like constantly. I spent this whole last week trying to redo them like a little bit each night, and I think I'm happier with what I have them at now, but we'll see. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if I'm like, I need to change everything again soon. I just can't seem to settle. But I did really want to have my rainbow back, and I do have a little bit of it that you can see here, and then the top shelves are also rainbow, so I am feeling better about that. But anyway, I'm going to talk about the books that I got this month. So here we go. So the first couple of books were a gift from my friend DJ, and his Instagram name is Life in Fiction, and I'll leave it linked down below. He has amazingly beautiful photos. They're all like dark and moody bookstagram photos, and I wish that I was as good at photography as he is, but sadly I don't think that I will ever get to that level. But anyway, so for Christmas he got me the new hardcovers of the Grisha trilogy. So the first one is Shadow and Bone, then we've got Siege and Storm, and then we've got Ruin and Rising, and I really like these new covers. I think that they are super beautiful, but my favorite thing about them is how gorgeous the spines look next to each other, especially Siege and Storm. I just really love this mint color. I think it's stunning. And as if that were not enough, DJ also got me a copy of Wicked Saints by Emily A. Duncan, and this is one of my most anticipated releases for 2019, and I am so excited to have a copy of this early. I cannot wait to read it. Definitely going to be doing so well before publication date, but I talked way in depth about this book during my most anticipated 2019 releases fantasy video, so if you haven't seen that, you should check that out because, like I said, I go pretty in depth about this one, but I'm very excited to have it. Next, I was sent two books from my friend Jane from It's Jane Lindsay. She got me these from my wish list on Amazon. So the first one is The Iron Trial by Holly Black and Cassandra Clare, which I'm really excited about because I love Cassandra Clare and I love Holly Black, and I have not yet read this series and I've really wanted to do so. This is the first book within the series, and I know that it's a middle grade story and it follows a boy who goes to this magic school, but he doesn't really want to, so he's, in the first book anyway, trying to fail out of magic school, so it sounds different than your typical chosen one kind of thing. So I'm very much looking forward to reading this one. Thank you, Jane. And she also got me a copy of Little Monsters by Kara Thomas, which I am so excited about because I read The Cheerleaders by Kara Thomas. I want to say I read it in November and I really enjoyed it, but Jane has told me that this book is so much better than The Cheerleaders, and I did really like Kara's writing, so I'm definitely interested in reading the rest of her books, and I really cannot wait to get to this one. Then the next couple of books were sent to me from my co-hosts of 'Tis the Season-a-thon. So the first one that I got is One Day in December, and this is from Heather from Bookables. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. A couple of the girls read this one during the readathon, and they all really seemed to enjoy it. Most recently I watched Trina's wrap-up and she really loved it, so I am super excited to read it, and also it's part of Reese Witherspoon's book club as one of her selections. I really do want to try to read more adult and stuff, so this is one that I've been looking forward to, and I also super love this cover. I think illustrated covers are just so pretty. Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you again for organizing everything into the season-a-thon. I am so thankful to have been a part of that with you. Next up, I got a book from Chelsea Dolling Reads. She sent me Next Year in Havana by Chanel Clayton, and this is another one that I have just been dying to read, and this is also another Reese's Book Club selection. I've heard nothing but good things about this. Chelsea herself read this and really loved it, and I also have found myself drawn to some historical fiction lately, so this is perfect for that. There's actually a sequel that's coming out in 2019, so I definitely want to read this one before that one comes out. I'm so excited to do so, and I also really love this cover and her dress and the pearls and everything. I just think it is so stunningly beautiful, and thank you, Chelsea. And last, from the 'Tis the Season-a-thon girls, I got a copy of The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang. I actually already read and loved this one. This was sent to me by Amy from A Court of Crowns and Quills. She was our Instagram host for 'Tis the Season-a-thon, so she's not on BookTube, but she's hopefully starting one soon. That would be very exciting. Thank you so much, Amy. I read this one so quickly. I really loved it. I read it over the Christmas break, and it was just the perfect thing. I never wanted to put it down, and again, It has such a beautiful illustrated cover, and I love like this contrast of the spine. And there's a companion novel of this one that's coming out in 2019, so now I'm like ready to go for that one. I can't wait. Next up, I have my Christmas gift from Alexa from Alexa Loves Books. Her and Mackie, actually both of them, gave me this copy of The Witch of Blackbird Pond, which is a classic book that I really want to read, and I'm so thankful to have a copy of it now. I'm really like so excited to get to it. This book actually has a Newbery Award, and I really do want to read some more award-winning novels, so that works out perfectly. But I know that Alexa wants to read this one as well, so I'm hoping that the two of us will end up buddy reading it in this coming year of 2019. It takes place in colonial Connecticut in 1687, and it just sounds so interesting to me. So thank you so much, Alexa and Mackie. And then this one was not a gift from Alexa, but she's lending me a copy. So that is Famous in a Small Town by Emma Mills. I really love Emma Mills. This is another one that I talked about in my most anticipated contemporary thriller video of the year, so if you want to hear the full synopsis, you can check that out. But I'm really excited to have this one. I know sadly some of my friends who have read it haven't enjoyed it as much as Emma Mills's previous books, but I think that I'm glad knowing that going into it. My expectations won't be like sky high. So I'm hoping that I will still enjoy it because I really do like her writing and everything. But yeah, I'm hoping to get to this one very soon. Then my cousin Rachel and my Aunt Sandy and my Uncle Nat and Carmody and Riley all sent me this copy of Fox by Nadine Brandeis. I'm really looking forward to reading this one. I've had this one on my wish list for quite a while, but I just haven't ever purchased it. I don't know why, but I'm really glad that they sent it to me. It's actually a retelling of Guy Fawkes, so it sounds like it's going to be really interesting. And I'm also really intrigued about Nadine Brandeis's next book, Romanov, which is coming out in 2019. So I definitely want to read this one first. Not that they're connected at all, but I like to read authors' work in the order that they publish it so I can see how they improve, because I'm a nerd like that. Very excited about this, so thank you, family. Then from my brother-in-law Joe and my sister-in-law Kristen, who has the same name as me, I got a copy of Harry Potter, A History of Magic, and I'm so excited about this one because Andrew and I actually went to see the Harry Potter exhibit kind of recently. I posted a little vlog clip of it when Andrew and I were there in my December vlog, but it was really cool because it was set up very differently than I was expecting. They really went into like actual historical documents and talked about all of the things that inspired J.K. Rowling and all of the classes, and like each room within the exhibition was set up like one of the classrooms. So there was like a herbology room, there's a divination room. It was so cool, and I'm really looking forward to getting to see like a more in-depth look at everything, because yes, while I did go and see the exhibit, it was difficult to get to like fully read and experience everything because it was extremely crowded. It had been sold out for like quite a while, so we went on one of the sold out mornings, and there were like handwritten notes from different chapters that J.K. Rowling wrote for Harry Potter, and I really wanted to read those, but it just wasn't like, I wasn't able to do so because there was just too many people. Now I can do it in the comfort of my own home. So thank you, Joe and Chris. Next, my brother-in-law Greg and my sister-in-law Moira got me this copy of Don Quixote, which is one of the Penguin cloth-bound classics, and I have been slowly collecting these books, so I'm really excited to add this one to my collection. I believe that this one was actually one of the new books that came out in 2018 that they just had published. So I also really love that it's like a bright orange color, because as I was organizing my cloth-bound classics the other day, I noticed that I really have a lot of the darker covers and darker colors. So I really do want to try to get some more of the brighter ones. So this is perfect for that. I have never read this book before, but I did study it in Spanish class when I was in like, I think it was when I was in high school actually. And I always thought that the story was really interesting. So I'm very excited to now have the opportunity to read it since I have a copy of it. It is quite long, so I'm sure that it'll take me a while, but it definitely sounds more interesting to me than some other classics because of like the kind of magical realism, fantastical elements that it has. So thank you so much, Greg and Moira. I am really excited to have this one. Okay, now moving into some of the books that I either were sent by publishers or I purchased for myself. I have quite an eclectic mix here, but I'm actually really excited about everything, as I should be, because there are things that I picked out. So anyway, the first book that I'm going to talk about, which will be no surprise to anyone, is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This one was sent to me by Simon & Schuster, so thank you so much to them. And this is also the first printing, so it has like the beautiful character art on the back of the book jacket, as well as some illustrations throughout the text. That was a really fun surprise. So this again is Queen of Air and Darkness by Cassandra Clare. This is actually the same illustration, but this one does also have the character art within it, but it doesn't have that fan art like on the back of the book jacket because there is no book jacket, but it matches the rest of my series, so I ordered this like the instant that they put it up online. I'm very, very excited to have this completed collection, and I've already read and loved this book. Next, I got the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition of The Sun Is Also a Star by Nicola Yoon. So this is actually a signed copy, but what really pushed me into getting this one is there are purple pages, and I just think that is so beautiful. This was actually, I believe this was the first 5-star book that I read in 2018. That wasn't a reread because I reread Cruel Prince first. I really, really loved this one. It was a National Book Award finalist, and I think it was very deserving because it was such a great story. But yeah, I decided to upgrade and get rid of the version that I currently had on my shelf in favor of getting this one. They look pretty much exactly the same except for the pages, and then there's a letter from the author, an illustrated map of Natasha and Daniel's New York City by David Yoon, who is Nicola Yoon's husband, who illustrated Everything, as well as a chapter annotated by the author. Then Random House was kind enough to send me a copy of Fire and Blood by George R.R. Martin. This is the Targaryen prequel story to the Game of Thrones series. This is actually like a really beautiful book. It's much bigger than I was expecting, and it also has super gorgeous end papers, and just like the font on the chapter headers and like the borders of the pages are just really, really beautiful. Next, I am forever grateful to Bookmistress here on YouTube because she commented on one of my earlier videos from this month asking me if I had seen this incredible edition of Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. This is actually the 150th year anniversary edition, and oh my god, it is so beautiful. Like, I am obsessed with it. As soon as I was like, oh no, I haven't heard of that. So I looked it up on Amazon and was like, yep, instant purchase. I ordered it right away. It's like this mint green, it's matted, it doesn't have a book jacket. Everything is like printed right on the hardcover, which I live for. And then it has a quote on the back. The end papers are amazing, and most exciting is that the text, a lot of the like title text is actually this light blue color, which is just stunningly beautiful. The chapter headers are in color with this blue, and I just love it. I'm so freaking excited. Alexa and I are actually planning on buddy reading Little Women later in the year, closer to when the movie is coming out in 2019. So this is like definitely the edition that I will be reading while we do that. Just so thankful that this exists. And I really hope that Little Brown makes more collector's editions of classics, because if they are anything like this one, I will buy them. Then while I'm talking about classics, I somehow did not own this version of Anne of Green Gables from Barnes & Noble, and I have no idea how that happened. So they recently had a coupon where you could save like, I don't know, 20% on your order or something like that if it was over like $40. So this is one of the books that I picked out because yeah, I definitely needed this one, and I already have a little spot for it with the rest of my Barnes & Noble leather-bound classics. I love the illustration. I think it's very beautiful. It also has gold gilded pages. Very excited. And then along in that order, I actually got 2 more books, and I kind of went with a little Paris theme. So the first one that I got is The Paris Seamstress. This is by Natasha Leister, and I am so excited to read this one. This is actually adult historical fiction, but my friend Rachel from Hello Chelly, she highly recommended this book to me, and she said that she actually recently included it in her blog post for best books of 2018, and she said that this book is really good for anybody who loves historical fiction and friendship and fashion, and I love all of those things, so I really think that I'm gonna love this one. And I just kind of, like I said, I've been on like this Paris binge where I've been getting a lot of Paris books. So yeah, I cannot wait to read this. And speaking of Paris, I finally picked up a book that I've been eyeing forever, but I haven't ever gotten, and that is Paris in Bloom by Georgiana Lane. This is like a coffee table type book, and it just has beautiful like Parisian photos within it. All of these flowers and like, it's just so pretty. Cherry blossoms, my favorite. I really love Georgiana's Instagram. I've been following her for quite a while. I've been meaning to get her book forever and I just haven't done it, but with that coupon I was like, you know what? This will put me like to where I need to be in order to save, and I wanted it for so long, so yeah. Then one lovely Sunday afternoon, Andrew ventured out to Books of Wonder with me, and I picked up the next 2 books in the Penderwicks series. I recently read the first one in like 2 days and I fell so in love with the whole story with the sisters. It was so cute and adorable and it really felt like a classic book. So the second one is the Penderwicks of Gardam Street, and then the third one is the Penderwicks at Point Moet. The reason that I went specifically to Books of Wonder is because they had an event there when the 5th and final Penderwicks book came out and they had signed copies. My first book in the series is also signed, so, and because I loved it so much I wanted to like continue on with that, so I went and got the next 2 signed as well. So the day before that, Alexa had gone to Books of Wonder to get the first book in the Penderwick series because I had been raving about it to her so much, but unfortunately they didn't have it. But while she was there, we discovered these other books that neither of us had heard of, but they sound like they're going to be very cute and I really love the covers. So the first one is Ballet Shoes. It's actually a series of novels. I'm not certain how many there are, but in this particular edition there are 2 or 3 so far. So this is the first one, and if I like it I'll continue buying the rest of them, but I just think that it's so beautiful. It sounds really cute. It's about 3 orphan girls and it's about friendship and ballet and dancing, and yeah, I'm excited to read this. Then I picked up a copy of Marilla of Green Gables by Sarah McCoy, and this is another book that was recommended to me by Rachel from Hello Chelly. Love Anne of Green Gables, as you know, and this book explores Marilla's backstory and it looks like it's going to be really interesting. I don't know why I had this misconception that it was going to be such a huge book, but just from looking at it online I kept like expecting it to be so big, but it's actually quite short. It's under 300 pages, so I'm expecting that I will read this one pretty early on in the year, and I'm really looking forward to doing so. Next, I have a couple more adult fiction books that I picked up because I really do want to read more adult fiction next year, and then I'm going to show you some manga, and then I'm going to do my Owl Crate unboxing, so alright. The first book that I have is actually one that I read already, and that is Summer Sisters by Judy Blume. I read this book when I was in, I want to say 7th grade, because my English teacher had told us that it was her favorite book ever and she was obsessed with it. So I remember going and I purchased a mass market paperback version of this book. It was like smaller with a whiter cover. I'm pretty sure that it had red font and like white beach chairs on it, and I also remember really loving it. It's about a friendship and it was so good, and I'm curious how I would feel about it revisiting it now in my life, especially because my teacher had loved it so much and she was obviously much older than me. So yeah, I'm very much looking forward to rereading this one, hopefully within the next year, probably around summer because it is a very summery novel. The next one is one that I've been eyeing for a while, and that is Lillian Boxfish Takes a Walk by Kathleen Rooney, and it takes place in, I believe, the 1930s in New York City, and it follows a woman named Lillian, and she actually goes on to become the highest paid woman in advertising, and that just sounds super interesting to me, but that was like in her younger years, and now she's just turned, I believe, 85 years old, and she's spending a night in New York City going on her way to a party and just experiencing all of the ways that the city has changed and stayed the same since like her heyday. Sounds really good to me. It's a national bestseller and I'm very excited to read this one. Then I got As If, which is the oral history of Clueless as told by the cast and the crew. This is a movie that I grew up watching like on repeat. I loved it so very much. So I'm really excited to learn more about what it was like during the time of filming and like hearing just different tidbits from the cast and crew and the people who were actually on set while it was coming out. I think that this was such an influential film when I was younger, and it really had a huge impact on me. I loved it so much and I still love it. I especially really liked watching it when I got older and understood way more than I did when I was younger watching it. Yeah, so I'm pretty excited to read this. Then I got this book called Summer at Tiffany by Marjorie Hart. I just kind of found this one on a whim. It's a New York Times bestseller, and it is actually a memoir. So it's about this girl who gets a job at Tiffany & Co. on Fifth Avenue in New York City. I believe she like becomes really good friends with one of the other girls who work there, and it's just all about their summer and New York, and yeah. it sounds like something that I would enjoy. Then I was at McNally Jackson in New York City and I found this bargain book that really caught my attention, and it is called The Paris Key by Juliet Blackwell, and she's actually written quite a few books, so if I read and enjoy this one, I'm definitely going to be going back and getting some of her other books. But I really love the cover of this one, obviously. Again, we've got Paris, so that definitely drew me in. And it's about a girl who had like an amazing summer in Paris, and then when she comes back to the United States, she kind of starts being more reserved and not really like going out and experiencing things, and then her marriage kind of falls apart and she has the opportunity to go back to Paris and take over working in her uncle's shop, and she does that and just like absorbs Parisian culture, and it sounds like it's gonna be great. Then lastly, I got a book by Nora Roberts, who is just such a prolific author, and I've really wanted to read some of her books. I've read a ton of synopses of her like backlist. This one really appealed to me. It also had really good ratings on Goodreads, so I think that this is where I'm going to start. There is one other series too that also looks incredible, but yeah, this one just appealed to me the most. This one is called Blue Dahlia, and it is the first book in the Garden trilogy, and it takes place in southern Tennessee at this like mansion lake house, and there's obviously a huge garden. I also really like that when you open it, there's this like beautiful photo here. I'm quite excited to read this, and then I will probably be picking up the next books in the series if I end up loving this one. Then I have a couple of volumes of manga and a graphic novel to show you. So first I have volume 3 of Wotakoi, Love is Hard for Otaku. I loved this anime so much, and they just announced that they are coming out with another like special episode that's going to be airing on March 29th in Japan. So I'm hoping that it will come to the United States soon, because there is nothing that I want more than more of this series. I have not yet read the manga, but I'm very much looking forward to doing so. Alexa actually read the first volume recently, and she said that that covered like most of what was in the anime, so I'm now even more excited to read the manga because I'll get more of a story, and they're still actually publishing the manga in Japan as well. Then I got volume 15 of Yona of the Dawn, and I really have to get my butt into gear and read volumes 9 through now 15 because I'm obsessed with this anime and I really want to know where the story was going to go, because the way that it ended was just not fair and there needs to be more. And yeah, I've had the opportunity to read it and I haven't done so, and I'm ashamed. I also somehow forgot that this volume of Sailor Moon, the Eternal Edition, this is volume 2, has been sitting in my desk for quite a while. Never included it in a haul because it's just been sitting in my desk since it came out. It's really, really pretty. I love that there's like color illustrations. The manga is just like blown up and it's just gorgeous. And it really looks a lot more similar to the volumes that they have in Japan. Then I have the first light novel in the Ancient Magus Bride series. This one is called The Golden Yarn, and the second one actually comes out in early 2019, which I also have pre-ordered. This is another one where I really have to get into gear and read the rest of the series and then dive into the light novels. Then I have Distillatoria, which is an original graphic novel set in the world of Over the Garden Wall, which I'm sure you guys have heard me talk about numerous times because I love Over the Garden Wall like more than anything. It is my favorite animated series that I've ever seen. It holds such a special place in my heart, and the amount of times that I have rewatched it is like crazy, and I like know most of the words too. I just love these characters and I love this like crazy weird world. It's like everything to me, so I'm very excited to read this one. Then I also have the UK edition of Let It Snow by John Green, Maureen Johnson, and Lauren Miracle. I couldn't find my US edition anywhere, and I really liked the look of the UK one, so I ended up picking up myself a copy. I want to reread it before the Netflix adaptation comes out next year. I also have Girls of Paper and Fire, which Alexa recently read and was obsessed with, and she keeps telling me that I need to read it immediately, so I'm definitely gonna listen to her and I will be doing so. But this is actually the Owl Crate version, which is why I have the gold text. Then I have The Similars by Rebecca Hanover, which I am doing an Instagram tour for in early January, and I'm pretty excited about it because this book sounds like it's going to be very interesting. And finally, I have The Strange Fascinations of Noah Hypnotic, and this is by David Arnold. It was sent to me by Penguin Teen as part of my Christmas gift, so thank you so much, Penguin Teen. I'm really looking forward to reading this. I have not read any of David Arnold's books so far, but I know that this one is actually being adapted, so I'm I'm definitely interested in reading it before that adaptation happens. And now for the unboxing portion. And just so that you guys know, I will be showing close-up photos of everything that comes in this box. That was some feedback that you guys had for me, so I really wanted to include that so that you guys can see everything more closely, because there are really great items in all of these boxes. This is the December box, and if you have not yet subscribed to OwlCrate, you can use my code, which is SPACE, to get a discount off of your first order. So first we have our OwlCrate art card, and the theme for this box was Power of Illusions. So first we have a candle by Flick the Wick, and I really love Flick the Wick, so I'm pretty excited about that. But this is actually a Lunar Chronicles candle, so it's called the Lunar Queen, and it smells like blackberries, vanilla, and fresh greenery. That is amazing. That is like exactly my kind of candle because it has like a sweet smell. That's usually what I tend to go for. Next we have a magnet, and it says, "We lead strange lives, chasing our dreams around from place to place." That's really cute. I actually just really like the artwork of this, so I think that I'm probably gonna keep it on my bookshelf instead of on the refrigerator. Aha, that was by Ink and Wonder Designs, and it was a quote from the Night Circus, so that makes sense why I love it so much. Next we have the OwlCrate exclusive ornament. I love that they've been including ornaments in their December boxes. I think it's such like a nice touch to add to your tree and to like chronicle the years of OwlCrate that you have under your belt. So this is super beautiful. It actually reminds me of like the Grisha trilogy, but it says, "Imagine and it shall be, there are no limits." And this was inspired by the Crowns game, which I have not yet read, but like I said, this really reminds me of the Grisha trilogy. Next, it looks like we have a necklace by Amber and Dusk. Ooh, this is really pretty. It's just this like beautiful, like citrine looking stone. That is quite pretty. That's really nice. Ooh. Next we have a tote bag from Stella's Bookish Art. So this says, "Gold shimmered no matter what, but few people could make darkness glitter the way he did." And that is a quote from the Caraval series by Stephanie Garber. That is a very pretty tote bag. I like the roses. Then we've got our OwlCrate button. This is the item that so many people have been waiting for, and this is actually a monthly reading planner. OwlCrate included a reading planner in their last December box as well, so I was really looking forward to seeing the format of the one that they would do this year. This is really great if you're not into bullet journaling because everything is already set up for you. So, oh, that's fun. Favorite books. So that way you don't have to like set all of this up on your own. You can just fill it out as you go. It has a new releases page, a monthly TBR page. Oh, that's nice. And then it has a little area for you to write down the books you read, the star rating, any thoughts that you might have had on them. And it goes that way month by month for the whole year. And then there's also a weekly planner at the back as well. Oh, there's a Neil Gaiman quote on the back. Oh, and there's a quote on the back from Neil Gaiman's New Year's speech, which is one of my favorites. And I just really love this design. I think they did a great job with this year. Next we have a little sampler from King of Fools, which is the second book in the Ace of Shades series by Amanda Foody. The first one, Ace of Shades, was actually included in an earlier OwlCrate box this year. I actually haven't read it yet, but it is one of the ones that is on my like early 2019 TBR because one of my goals is to read like all of the OwlCrate books that I already have and that are coming in new boxes. So once I read that, then I'll read this excerpt. But my friend Jill actually really loved the first book, so I'm very much looking forward to getting to it myself. Then we've got the book, and that is Amber and Dusk by Lyra Celine. I actually have never heard of this book before, so that is interesting. I do really like the color of the cover, and now that necklace makes sense because it totally matches that stone that's right there. No wonder I could not figure out what the December book would be since I had not yet heard of this one. We also have the signature from the author. I just quickly read the synopsis, and this sounds like a really fun fantasy, and I have no idea how this was not on my radar. And it's also blurbed by Roshani Chokshi. Very interesting. Then we have our little booklet, which actually shows the original cover versus the OwlCrate cover. I love the OwlCrate cover so much more than the original because this like pink and purple is my color scheme. This yellow and blue is kind of boring to me. There's an interview with Flick the Wick, which I will definitely be reading. And the January theme is magical artifacts. And I read the I read like the clues on the OwlCrate Instagram for the January book, and let me just tell you that you will want to get it because I already read the book and it's so good. It's definitely for sure the one I just read, like without a doubt. And yeah, trust me when I say you will want it. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do with the cover because I already love the cover of the original version. So that is something to look forward to. And the exclusive item will be something illustrated by Holly Dunn Design. So that's exciting. That was everything in the December OwlCrate box. that was my book haul for the month. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I think that my book hauls will be getting a little bit shorter in the coming year because I am planning on purchasing less books, so we'll see how I do with that goal. Things just tend to pile up sometimes, but you know how it goes. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if there's anything like new and different that I might have told you about. I know that I included a bunch of books that I normally like were kind of out of my comfort zone, and that's because I do want to read more out of my comfort zone next year. So I'm pretty excited about the things that I have just added to my TBR. And thank you again everyone who sent me like wonderful Christmas gifts or give them to me in person. It means so much to me. And I hope everyone has a great new year, and I will see you guys soon with a new video. Bye!